And now we'll go to Sydney, where ancient Aboriginal rock art has been discovered on Sydney's northern beaches. Anne Barker joins us with more. And Anne, what has actually been found?
Well, Kim, this is art that has apparently been under a rock ledge, a couple of rock ledges right next to a waterhole in northern Sydney, or on the North Shore, I should say, for up to 20,000 years. And over the generations since colonisation, it's had a lot of people walking past. People have even graffitied on that rock art. But over the last few decades, there's been a lot of vegetation growing over it, and it hasn't necessarily been well exposed. So only in July this year, Sydney Water sent somebody down to investigate a fishing hook that had been discovered that could be 1,000 years old. And now this is a hook that's been made out of a shell and was one of the more modern forms of traditional Aboriginal hunting, if you like. It was only because they went to examine that they discovered the art itself and realised it wasn't graffiti, as a lot of people had previously thought. So there is some graffiti on the walls, but there are eels, there are a lot of hand stencils, there's a crescent-shaped moon and a spearhead, for example. It hasn't been formally scientifically dated, but people, historians, archaeologists are saying it could be between 15 and 20,000 years old.
It's really interesting, isn't it, that this sort of art was not recognised before now, that no one seemed to understand the significance of those images there.
It is. I mean, as they said, it was only in July that council workers went in to prune some of this vegetation that had been growing for decades, obviously, down the rock face and even into the water. And I mean, this is a site that's right in the heart of residential Sydney. Somebody lives right next to it, and if you open their back door, you think it's part of their back garden, this large waterhole. It's a beautiful setting. It's quite pristine bush. But as I say, for years, it's really only bushwalkers, I think, and Sydney Water staff that have gone past in these recent years.
Interesting. Anne Barker in Sydney, thank you. And that is all from around the states today. Thanks again to our reporters in Hobart and Sydney.